All right, you set up an account, you've logged in for the first time, let's make a video.
While we're getting used to the different functions that are available to us in Clipchamp, we're going to use the media that is already available to us in their library. So the first thing we're going to do is mouse over to the menu on the left and click on Stock. Some of the stock footage that is available in Clipchamp is going to ask you to pay for it. I am never going to require you to pay for anything for an assignment for my class. But if you choose to pay for content to add to your class assignments, that is up to you. For our purposes, let's click on Free Forever. For this first assignment, I'm going to have you select 2 stock footage clips and manipulate them. I'm going to select first the online shopping clip that is 7 seconds long. So I'm going to mouse over and click the plus sign to add it to my collection. The second clip I'm going to choose is going to be the stylish girl looks in her shopping bags clip that is 14 seconds long. And again, to add it to my collection, I'm going to click the plus sign. For your assignment, you are free to choose any of the free forever clips that you would like. The first time you add footage to your timeline, you'll be prompted with this green arrow that shows you how to drag and drop media from the library to start creating your videos. After the first time you do this, you will no longer be prompted like this, so pay attention. So I'm going to drag and drop the clip that I want to be first into my timeline. When I release it, the video will be added to the timeline, and then I'll be prompted to edit the properties of this video. Clicking through the tutorial pop-up will show you some different features that you could use for video projects in the future. In addition to dragging and dropping media, you can also hover over and click the plus sign. Instead of dragging and dropping, if you click the plus sign, the media will be added to the timeline without you having to drag and drop it. So you have 2 different ways to get media onto your timeline. So now we're set up and ready to start editing. For this assignment, I'm going to have you cut one clip into the middle of another clip. This is how you do it. First, you are going to drag your timeline bar to the center of the clip that you want to cut. Make sure the clip that you want to split is the one that is highlighted. You'll know because it has a teal line all the way around it. Then, select the Split button from the menu directly above the timeline. When you do that, it's going to cut the clip exactly at the place where your timeline bar is positioned. Now, I'm going to select my second piece of footage, and I'm going to drag it over until it pops into the place where I split my clip. When you have one clip go directly to the next clip with no sort of transition, that's called a jump cut. For our purposes, since we're just playing around with the different features, let's go ahead and add some transitions into these places where we've made our edits just to see what will happen. In the menu on the left-hand side of the screen, I'm going to click on Transition. The most common kind of transition that you'll notice in movies and television is a crossfade. That's the first one that is in your options when you click on Transition. To add that, I'm going to put that transition right at the first place where I currently have a jump cut. And I'm going to, instead of a jump cut, I'm going to have a crossfade. So I'm going to add that by selecting it and dragging it down to my timeline. Now you'll notice as soon as I click and start to drag it around, my mouse turns into the no symbol. It's the circle with a line through it, which means if I were to release that clip anytime my mouse looks like that, nothing is going to happen because the editing software will not accept a transition at any place where my mouse looks like that. So when I get ready to put my transition in place to make sure it's successful, I need to wait until my mouse looks like an arrow with a little box and a plus. Once my mouse turns into that symbol and the clip disappears, then I can release my mouse and the transition will be in place. Then I can move my timeline bar back and either press play or the space bar to see if I like my transition. And I do, so I'm going to keep it. But if I decided I didn't like that transition at all and I wanted to get rid of it, then I could mouse over and click on the transition. From the drop-down menu, I could change the transition type, so maybe I want to have it fade through white instead. Or I could decide to delete it altogether. For this assignment, I'd like you to put one transition at your first cut and a different transition at your second cut. Show me that you can add two different kinds of transitions to your timeline. I'm going to choose fade through white for my first one, and I'm going to choose fade through black for my second one. Now I want to add some text to this video. You'll need to do this to create a title for your video clip. You'll need to do this to create end credits for a video clip. And if you decide to put any kind of text on screen, like for example, if you want to include lyrics or the lines of a poem, then you would need to be able to add text. So I'm going to click on the text button in the menu on the left-hand side. And Clipchamp is going to populate a bunch of different kinds of text options that I can use. So I'm going to scroll through and find one that I like. I like this one here that's called clean. So I can either click and drag this onto my timeline, or I can hit the plus button to add it to the timeline. If I want the text to begin at the beginning of the video, I can leave it right there where it is, or I can click and drag to move this text anywhere in my video that I want. For this assignment, I would like you to add text that has your first and last name and your class period in the text. So to edit this, I'm going to click until I see a menu of buttons appear at the top of my screen. If I click on text, I'll be able to edit the text that is in the text effect. So I'm going to change this to Miss Street is Queen of Everything. This is my example video. I can say whatever I want. If I don't like the font, I can change it in the drop-down menu. I kind of like Sue Ellen Francisco. I never get to use handwriting style fonts, so I think I'm going to use it for this example. I'll click over. I don't have a logo, and neither will you guys, so I'm going to ask that you make sure that none is selected in logo. There are other changes that you can make. For example, if the text is too small, you can change its size in Transform. And if you wish to change the color of your text, you can do that in colors. So instead of having white text, I'm going to change it to purple. Then I can press play or the space bar once I've clicked on the timeline to check and make sure that everything looks the way I want it to. There you go. The last thing I'm going to have you guys do for this assignment is add some sound to your video. So go back over to the stock button. And this time you are going to select audio. Now, in the audio tab, you have a choice between music, sound effects, or looped audio. Beware. Anything that you see that has a yellow star on it is going to require you to pay before you are allowed to export the video with that on it. So make sure, unless you plan to pay for content in your videos for class, that you are selecting items that are free, and they will be indicated by the word free on the file. I'm going to select music, and I'm going to make sure that my item is going to be free, so I'm going to choose the Free Forever menu. When you mouse over an item in the music or the audio tab, it's going to play a sample for you, so make sure your headphones in before you start this step. Find an audio track that you like and then add it to the timeline. If you think you know what style you'd like, you can search in the search bar. I'm going to see if I can't find some jazz. I'm in the mood for some jazz today. I see a lot of options for different kinds of jazz, but I also see that they all have those yellow stars on them. Let me scroll through and see if I can find anything that's free under the Jazz tab. Nope, doesn't look like I'm going to be able to, so let's try something else. I'm just going to choose from the Free Forever menu. Just anything for this assignment is going to be fine. Let me see. How about Inspiring Soft? Sure, why not? So I'm going to hit the plus button to add this to my media. Then I can close out of the Stock Media tab. To add this to my timeline, I can mouse over it and hit the plus button. I want you to notice that this particular piece of audio is way longer than my video, so I'm going to need to cut it. So I'm going to use my mouse to drag my timeline bar to where I want to cut my music, where I want my music to stop. I'm going to select the split button. Then I'm going to select the part that I don't need. Then I'm going to delete it from my timeline. And now my first video project is complete. I have one clip cut into the center of a second clip. I have transitions at both the places where I made the edits. I have text at the beginning of the video that has my name on it. And I have an audio file playing only behind the video and no more. Once you have all of these elements in your assignment, you are ready to export your video. Mouse over into the up right-hand corner and select Export. We are going to select Video. We are going to make sure we're choosing the lowest resolution simply because we don't want to stress out the Schoology Upload tab too much. We're going to scroll down. We do not need any additional compression. Regular file size is going to be fine. And then we're going to click on Continue. If you are prompted to rate Clipchamp, feel free to be honest. I am not sponsored by these people. I just picked them because they were the best free, like entirely free video editor that I could find that would be workable for our purposes in class. If you hate it, hit that 0. If you love it, hit that 10. You will be able to see the progress of your export in the progress bar in the top left. You'll also be able to see at what part of your video the export has gotten to in the mini tracker on the right. If you have realized that you screwed something up, you can cancel the export. Once the export has completed, then you'll need to download your video in order to save it to your computer. You can also choose to upload directly to YouTube if you have a YouTube channel. Remember, I always want you to set your videos as unlisted. That way you can share the link with me, but nobody can find your videos if they don't already have the link, which protects your privacy online. You'll have to give Clipchamp permission to access your account before they will upload your video for you. If you don't have a YouTube account that you wish to use, then make sure that you download the video to your desktop and save it using the file name lastname.firstname.assignmentname.date before you then upload it to a Schoology assignment. To see your video on your desktop, make sure you've downloaded it. Then, click Show in Folder from the menu at the bottom. You can right-click to change the name. And then make sure to drag that into your theater class folder so that you always know where it is. Once you have selected your 2 clips, close out of stock footage by clicking the Close button in the menu on the left.